What up, peoples? It's your man RTP, Skull Gang in the building. This is the Pewter and Red podcast. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. What's up, Rashad West in the building? Listen, this is how long. Oh my goodness, this is how long it's been. It's a little loud. I don't even have my soundboard anymore. Something happened to my soundboard. I can't even hit my bombs. I feel empty right now. But um, we're close to training camp, and I had no idea. I haven't been really what is this? Hold on, let me take this off too. God, it's just been a long time. There we go. Um so yeah, training camp's what, the 25th, and we're what, the 22nd. So training camp's this week. Um we haven't talked about a lot of stuff. Like we really haven't got into it. Let's be honest, man. After I got off of the playoffs, I kind of just I wanted to leave this alone. I needed to get away. Um, I needed to stop talking about the Bucks. But we're back. We're here. I said I was going to start making videos and get us, because as you can see, there's only 4 people in here now. Now 5. Shout out to everybody. But as you can see, it's lower than usual. So I said I was going to make more videos so we can start getting in the rhythm again of, okay, get going. Um, Big Al in the building once again, man. I don't got my dropping bombs. I gotta find another soundboard, so I'll figure that out. But today we are going to react to a video that I seen, and I said, you know what? Let me react to this and talk to my people about this, because for the most part, this is pretty much how people feel about the Bucks. And let's just get into it, right? Let's go ahead and get into it and see what's going on.
Well, he certainly proved that it is his team and more last season. Jeff, now that the Bucks bring back both Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, what type of expectations do they face this season?
Well, what a difference a year makes. This time last year, we were going into this season wondering if Baker would get his shot and be able to reignite his career. He did exactly that.
Jameer in the building. What it do?
How much contribution will this team also get from their recent draft picks? Because it seems as if they've really loaded up.
That's what's
General
up.
Manager
That's what's up.
Jason Light, once again, proving why he's one of the more underrated executives in the league. Added a wide receiver, a running back, a tight end, an offensive lineman who could potentially start. So it feels like this offense should be better than last season. Of course, now the expectations are that much higher as well.
Okay, so let's take a look at the schedule for the Buccaneers. Listen, I think Baker Mayfield is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I do not think he's great. I think he's average to good. I think he has some highs. He's very inconsistent. I think he tricks people because he can do some cool stuff. He looks like he's kind of athletic. He looks like he's like a poor man's Mahomes to a degree. But he is not good enough. He is.
Now, to this point, right? To this point, you guys know how I feel about Baker, right? I've explained at the end of last year. I explained how I feel about Baker during the season last year. Even after I had explained how I felt about Baker. And I'm not that far away from what he's saying, right? Obviously, I think maybe some people might disagree. I think I might be I sugarcoated just a little bit more. Obviously, I'm a Bucks fan. I don't want to just tear the guy down, but some people might disagree with me. Some people might be like, no, you're just as ruthless when it comes to Baker. I don't know. But I'm not too far off from what he's saying here. So where do things go wrong? Well, he makes the same mistake as pretty much everybody else who talks about the Buccaneers and pretty much everyone that talks about somebody else's team.
Is so much more bark than actual bite. I think that's honestly the most perfect representation of who Baker Mayfield is. And he was able to thrive in a zero expectations in
Promise you
Tampa Bay
guys,
when
I'll
they were
fix
originally
the
thinking
camera
that they were
setup
going
and
to
everything
be
better next time.
tanking for Caleb Williams. It didn't turn out to be that bad, and they won some games.
They thought we were going to tank for Caleb Williams. A couple people not so smart believed that we had a shot at getting Caleb Williams. And we won a couple more games than that. But how? How? This is where and again, we got things to talk about when it comes to the team. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to this football team. There really is. There's a lot that we should be hyped about. There, big hype. There is things that we gotta lower our expectation on. You know how I do. I tell you the real. I give it to you straight. I give you the ups and I give you the downs. That way we don't get caught off guard. But let's see where he goes with it.
But listen, if you think that you're going to be able to go far or win a Super Bowl or get to a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, if you think he's going to outduel Brock Purdy and the 49ers, Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, Stafford and the Rams, Jordan Love and the Packers, and then either this season or the next season, Caleb Williams and the Bears, I mean, like, what are we talking about here?
What are we talking about here? I'll make this simple, especially for the Buck fans that are watching this. I'll make this simple. And by the way, Rashad said he watched this one yesterday. If any of you guys, whether you're watching live right now or you're watching this when it's not live, if any of you guys ever see a video that has to do with the Bucks that y'all want me to react to, throw it in the comment section. See if you can throw the link in. Most of the time, they don't allow you to comment with the link. So you might want to put quotation marks between the outside the link. So I know there's a quotation mark. I can copy and paste that quotation mark. I mean, that link inside the quotation mark, and then I can find the video. Or you could just type the name of the video in the comment section. Or you can hit me up on Twitter and hit me up in the DMs, Pewter and Red Podcast. You could DM me there the video that you guys want me to react to, whether it's a video about someone talking about the Bucks, whether it's a video of someone talking about the NFC South, a team, a player, or maybe even just some random other team. If you want me to give my reaction or what I think about a video that has to do with another team or another player, just hit me up and we'll try to have some more reaction videos of these people talking about what they're talking about, because most of them don't know what they're talking about. Jameer in the building says, different team, but we just showed we can outduel the Packers. Atlas says, not going to lie, I think he's cooking a bit. I'm not big on either Bowles or Baker, being completely honest, and I don't think the ceiling is there. Now, let's talk about, oh, wait, one more. Atlas says, Light got us a good market deal on Baker. I am not hating on that. I would have just preferred a different direction for now. Like I said in the beginning, I am not far from what I believe Baker is to what he said. We're pretty much in the same boat. Do I believe we can make it to a Super Bowl? Do I believe we can make it to an NFC championship? I do. I do. I do. I do. I won't break down so much right now, but let's just call it a preview. I mean, I don't know, maybe I do break it down later in the video from reacting to this, but as of right now, let's just call it a preview to later videos of why I believe we can make it to the Super Bowl. We can make it to the NFC Championship. It's not impossible at all. In fact, I have hopes, and I feel like they're realistic. If I was to sit here and say, we got what's his name? I'm not even gonna break it down. Let's just say I disagree with him there. I'm not saying we're going to. I don't have that confidence like when we had Tom Brady. Like, yeah, this is a Super Bowl team. We could pretty much get there. But Y'all saw what I said about Baker at the end of the season. I still feel the same way that I feel about Baker. But am I going to sit here and say it's not possible for us to make it to the NFC Championship? No. Am I going to say it's not possible for us to make it to the Super Bowl? No. Again, we could talk about more why. Let's continue.
So let's just look at this schedule, okay? We got the Commanders. Congratulations, Buccaneers. You're going to win that game.
Of course
I'm proud of you. The Lions versus the Bucks. You're going to lose.
Well, we might win. I don't know. I'll tell you this. I think that's an L in my opinion. Not because of who we are, but because it's early in the season. And who I think we have a chance of being, I doubt that we're going to be that team. If we are going to be that type of team, I doubt we would be that team in week 2. So either way, I think we take a L to the Lions. Now, if that's a dub, if we take a dub there,
the Broncos versus the Buccaneers. That's going to depend on who's the quarterback.
I think we win no matter what.
But I absolutely positively see the Broncos winning that game. Eagles versus the Bucks. I got the Eagles.
I think, again, now what I'm going through right now, we're going through the schedule. This is not my final thought of the schedule, right? Because there's a lot of questions that I got to answer, that we got to answer when it comes to this offense. We got a lot of question marks. We got a lot of question marks when it comes to the offense. We got question marks when it comes to the defense. Now, if you know me, if you know this channel here on the Pewter and Red podcast, you know that as the season goes, as training camp comes along, we start getting answers to some questions of who these players could possibly be. And then the preseason comes along, and then we get a little bit more answers of who these players could possibly be. And as far as our offense, who we could be offensively. We start getting more questions, and then we could get more we can finalize more about how we feel about this schedule and how we feel about the team in general, who we can be, and how the matchups are going to be. But as of right now, if we're just going off of the average of what I think is probably of who we are, what we're going to be, it's very possible we could beat the Eagles. I don't think that's like the Lions. I think that's more 50-50 on my part. For the Lions, I think that's more 30-70, 70% chance that they'll probably win, 30% chance that we'll win. I think the Eagles are more 50-50, closer to that.
The Buccaneers versus the Falcons. I got the Falcons.
Saints versus we're not getting swept by the Falcons. So we either sweep the Falcons or we split with the Falcons. So
Buccaneers. Let's be nice. We'll give them that a win. The Ravens versus the Buccaneers. Come on. The Ravens are winning that game.
Now that is something obviously he doesn't understand. He's not close about the Bucs. He doesn't really follow the Bucs like that. Ravens against the Buccaneers. Come on, it's the Ravens. Sorry. Actually, Todd Bowles is really good at slowing down Lamar Jackson and making that game, the Baltimore game, very easy for us to win. So if we are a decent enough offense, which we should be, again, averaging, we don't know yet, but we should be. We shouldn't. We'll know more, but we can. That game is very winnable. In fact, I would consider that probably going to be a win.
The Falcons, again, this will be interesting. Maybe they'll split. I think the Falcons are a better team, better quarterback, better everything. So I think.
Now, we could just go from right there. We could pretty much stop right there because that is the whole. That's the whole part of why we're having this video and why people are wrong. Plain and simple. Because I kind of hear this a lot in different ways, different words, right? Falcons, better quarterback, better team overall, blah, blah, blah. Which I don't believe at all. I don't believe at all. Now, better quarterback, again, you know how I feel about Baker. You know how I feel about Kirk Cousins. I believe Kirk Cousins is the better quarterback. Everything else is all Buccaneers. Everything else is all Buccaneers. What you want to say, tight end? Okay, I'll give you tight end. Kyle Pitts, probably better than K. Dotton. He's better than K. Dotton. Tight end room? I think we're going to get more out of our tight end room than Falcons are probably just going to get Kyle Pitts, and that's it. Now, running back, running back's a whole nother situation. To me, running backs don't matter unless your O-line is good enough to have your running back matter. Plain and simple. So I don't really care about that. But I can't say we know, but we'll skip that. Wide receivers, we already know, right? Secondary is us. I don't care what nobody says. Secondary is us. Safeties, corners, people keep talking about we don't know what McCollum is. We don't know what McCollum is. We know what McCollum is. He's gonna put his mark this year. We know who McCollum is. D-line, easily us. Linebackers, still us. Without Devin. Probably even better now, maybe. It's us. O-line, that is the question. And not just because of this, who's better, the Falcons or the Bucks. It's the Bucks. We're the better team. Easily, we're the better team. Coach, I like Raheem, but he has to prove that he's as good as Bowles. I'm sorry. He did good for us, but he also had the same type of good team that collapsed. That happens. He lost the team. If you guys remember, I remember specifically, Raheem lost the team. Will he lose this team? Probably not, but he still got to show that he's a good head coach in this league. So until then, I got to give it to Bowles. But everything else is us. But forget that. Who cares about the Falcons? That's going to be proven. The one position that we are going to have to find out that's going to define our season. Obviously quarterback, but we're not talking about the quarterback. The one position that's going to define this season for us is our O-line. It is our O-line. Now, do I believe our O-line is going to be good enough to play football? Yes. I think our O-line was the best that it's been in a long time last year. I've said it before. I will continue to say it. It is better than our Super Bowl O-line. Our O-line, last year, pass protecting was better than our Super Bowl O-line. Now, running the ball, we might have been a little bit better running the ball that Super Bowl year than that. But pass protect, our O-line was pretty dang good. It could be even better this year. And that's not the part I'm talking about with the passing, but the running of the football. Running of the football. That could literally define our season coming up. The running of the football is going to be the difference maker, if possible. I don't know if we're going to run the football. I don't know if we're going to have the same type of run game. I have no idea. We will learn more about these answers. But I believe that is going to be the difference between us doing what we did last year, I'll say it like this. That'll be the difference between us having the opportunity to do what we did last year and go to the playoffs, win the division, and win a playoff game. Or it could give us the opportunity to do better than last year if it's good enough. And there are reasons, which I will not speak about right now. There are reasons that we could do worse than last year. But that's another video, right?
Easily the Falcons can
That's
go
the main
2-0.
point.
Buccaneers versus the Chiefs. Maybe if Patrick Mahomes gets his leg blown off. But otherwise, they're winning.
Now, that game, the Chiefs game, is interesting to me because that is a game like another game he's going to mention that I want to see what do we do differently. Because that's always been a battle, right? That's been they did something and then we countered what they did, and it happened to be in the Super Bowl and we won the Super Bowl, and then they countered what they did after that, which is what, last year I believe it was, and they whipped our butts last year, and now we're going to play them again, so let's see what we counter this time. So it's a back and forth counter, so I'm just interested to see how we attack them. We could probably get our butts kicked again. I don't know. I'm just interested to see how that game
49ers
goes
versus the
out.
Buccaneers. 49ers. The Buccaneers versus the Giants. You got that, Bucs. I believe in you.
Of course.
Playing the Panthers. I believe in you.
Of course.
Now the Raiders. That is a tough defense. We know Baker Mayfield's not so good with tough defenses. So that'll be also really.
Now, this is the problem and the blindness that other people that talk about the Bucs have. You know Baker's not good against tough defenses. A lot of quarterbacks is not good against tough defenses. And this is why people can't see the Bucs having the record that we see the Bucs having records, because they just see Baker versus Mahomes. They don't see Baker versus Mahomes' defense and Mahomes versus the Bucs defense. They never look at the Bucs defense. That's the problem that people have. That is the mistake that people make all the time when they're trying to predict a Buccaneers record, is they look at quarterback versus quarterback. That's not real life. That's not the NFL. It's quarterback and that other quarterback's defense versus that other quarterback and the Bucs defense. Sometimes our defense will make a quarterback that's better than Baker play to Baker's level. Sometimes we'll take a quarterback that's the same level as Baker and make them play worse than Baker. That's what they don't understand. That's what they don't take in account. They don't understand that, yes, that quarterback might be better than our quarterback, but our defense is what keeps us in games. Our defense is what neutralizes their better quarterback and makes the game even and gives my quarterback a chance to win the game, even though your quarterback might be way better than my quarterback. Would I take Lamar Jackson over Baker? Heck yeah. But I think Baker can win that game because I know that Todd Bowles knows how to scheme up Lamar Jackson. He knows Lamar Jackson's weakness and can make his quarterback play, subpar to where Baker will look better than Lamar. That's very possible. That's what I believe will happen. Can my defense do that to Mahomes? I don't know. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I don't know. That's why we got to find out. Do I believe that my defense could make it just as hard for whoever their quarterback is, which I think is something Aiden or Minshew, I think? What's one of those? Yeah, I'm pretty sure my defense can make it just as hard, if not harder, for their quarterback to play quarterback than their defense is going to make it for Baker to play quarterback. Because let's get it twisted. They have Devontae Adams. We have Mike Evans. You know how I feel about Mike Evans. And we got Chris Godwin. And we got Rachaad White. And we got Trey Palmer. And we got McMillan. I can't think of his first name. We got weapons. Again, there's a lot we got to talk about when it comes to this team, and I'm excited, and I'm glad that I've held off for so long, and we got training camp in a few days. That's dope. So we got a lot to talk about. And yes, shout out to Gaming Reaper, man. Smash the like button. Let's start getting this algorithm going again, guys. Let's start getting this algorithm going again so people can start seeing that, hey, Pewter and Red podcast is back. They're doing live shows again. All that good stuff. Let's get them that algorithm
really interesting
going.
To see who's their quarterback, where they stand. But I can easily see the Raiders absolutely winning that game. And then the Chargers and the Buccaneers. To me, this is also an interesting game because I feel as though that how deep are the Chargers, in terms of their progression with Harbaugh getting settled? Because I've always put them on like a 1 to 2 to 3 year plan of him having to rebuild that team. And truthfully, I'm not sure how long that'll take. I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers hit the ground running or if it takes them until next season. But again, you're talking about Harbaugh, Justin Herbert. If that team is healthy and some of the pieces that they've drafted can kind of be developed well, I got my money on Harbaugh. So again, that's a tough one because I just don't know what the Chargers are going to look like.
Now, this is why I could be confident in the Chargers game, right? Not because, I know for sure we're going to win that game. Because, again, we don't know what Harbaugh and those Chargers are going to look like or going to be. This is why I feel confident in saying that more than likely we're probably going to win that game. Because we're not a nobody team. We're not a nobody team. People keep putting the Falcons already ahead of the Bucs because for some reason they know who the Falcons are. without knowing who's on the Falcons. There is this weird situation of the Falcons had a so-and-so record, but they did that record with what's his name? Ritter. They did that record with Ritter. So insert a new quarterback, a better quarterback. Of course their record's going to be better. Not understanding that their team had already reached the peak of who they are. Will they be better with Kirk Cousins? Of course they'll be better with Kirk Cousins. So what are you saying, RTP? I am saying that their defense is already who they are. They'll probably get worse. They lost pieces. They're not going to get any better. They are who they are. And our schedule is harder now. Well, isn't the schedule harder for the Bucs? Yes, it is. It's harder for the Bucs too. But here's the difference. Here's the kicker. We got the record that we got while we were learning players, while our players were learning, while our players were young. We had McCollum starting. He never started before. We had two rookies in Yaya and Kalijah, which Kalijah didn't play the first quarter of the season, and in the second quarter of the season, he was pretty much trying to get back from injury. And then the second half of the season, he was getting better and getting better and getting better. Yaya didn't even play until the second half of this, didn't even start until the second half of the season. So he had to get better and get. These players were learning and getting better and growing into being better. We had to go through a drought of Baker having to play good and then have a whole bunch of bad games because they figured out what Baker was doing, and then we had to readjust. We had to go through a whole season of Dave Canellis, our first-time play caller, figuring things out, figuring how the NFL was attacking our offense, figuring out our offensive pieces. No one takes account of the situation that the Bucs had to go through and still got the record that we got. Everybody looks at our record and says, yeah, but you had an easy schedule and you had a crappy division. True. But you don't understand all the things we had to go through and all the problems we had to overcome to still have that record. All the young players, undrafted nickel, guy at safety who never played for Todd Bowles before and was running around like with his head cut off like a chicken. O-line, expecting Ryan Jensen to play, couldn't play. A rookie on the O-line. Was he a rookie? Was Mayock a rookie or was that his second year? I don't remember. Someone will put it in the comment section. I can't remember. Lou Gedicke, we didn't know if he was going to pan out at right tackle. So we had to overcome a lot of things, and we still ended up with the record that we got with the first place. And that's the other thing. Everybody in our division had to face the division, but we had to face the division with a first place schedule. And we still had the best record in the division. And we still had the most youngsters starting for our team. The most rookies starting for our team, including Servassier, including Yaya, Kalijah, Trey Palmer. Who else? All that. Like, we had so much to overcome. And now we have a defense that's the same, but better now. Because we replaced the safety that was having his head cut off like a chicken and still running around with someone who's been in this defense before and made plays and won a Super Bowl with us in this defense. We got a second-year Yaya. We got a second-year Kalijah. Hopefully they both come in the season healthy, which is another add-on. Better O-line. So no one talks about the things we had to overcome and why we'll be even better this year. All they talk about is Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. And that's what they decide who's going to win this division. Now, I'm not saying Falcons can't win this division, because they can win the division. But the reason why people count out the Bucks are just because they don't know any better. They don't know what they're talking. They don't know anything about the Bucks. They don't know any better.
Especially in December. Now the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. You guys know I am not high on the Cowboys, but I still believe in the Cowboys. They're at home. The Cowboys aren't going to be complete garbage, but again, I do trust the Cowboys in that regard.
Now the Cowboys, that's another team that's like the Chiefs, where every time we play them, something different happens, right? We play them, we whip on them, they come back and they change something up, they beat us, we come back, we change something, we beat them. Last time they beat us, they freaking thought they won the Super Bowl because it was a playoff game and we already know Brady's arm was already gone. But even if Brady's arm was good, it still would have been a good game. They might have still beat us, because what they did offensively, I spoke about it. They kind of came out with the same game plan that the Chiefs did to kill our defense. And so that's another game that I'll be interested. I don't know if we'll win that game. I don't know if we'll lose that game. I don't know. I'll definitely know by the time we play them. I'll have a good idea if we're going to win or lose that game. But it'll be interesting to see what the game plan looks like.
And then the Panthers, congratulations, you're going to beat the Panthers. And then the Saints, congratulations, you're going to beat the Saints. So outside of some of these more I don't knows, let's just go through it. The Commanders, let's go through. That's a win, 1. And then that's 1. Then 2, 3, 4. I'll give you the 50-50 for the Raiders. That's 5. I mean, listen, we're literally looking at a potential 8-win team. And even if it may be 9, if some of those 50-50s go the other way. So you're talking about another 8 to 9 wins. The last season, what was it? 9 and 8. This season, so you could win 8 games again. You can win 8 games or maybe 9 games again. You're certainly not winning 10 or 11. So I just don't know what people believe that the Buccaneers are going to be able to do, and what you think that when you are asking Baker Mayfield to win you some games, he almost always fails in that situation.
Well, first of all, to believe that your record indicates what you're going to do in the playoffs is very foolish. To believe that what your record is what you're going to do in the playoffs. What I have learned, what Brady and that team and this coaching staff has taught me, and I've heard it before. I've heard it a lot, but it never really hit me until it happened with us, which is the season is not to show who you are. The season is to get your team ready for the playoffs. It's to tune this part up here. And once you tune that and that's working perfectly, okay, now let's work on tuning this up. And you got to do that as the season rolls on. That way, when you get into the playoffs, that is in tuned, that is in tuned, this is in tuned. You got all those parts they're all tuned up, and then you hit the playoffs with everything good, ready to roll. That's what the season is for. The season is to hit people with something and to see if the NFL can strike back. And when they counter back and they stop it, okay, now let's tune that up. Okay, now let's hit them with this. Boom, 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 boom. Then they hit you back or stop it. Okay, now they stopped it. Let's tune that up so that's ready for the playoffs. And when the playoffs come, you put out everything that you've learned in the regular season and you use it to try to be unbeatable as you can in the playoffs. So we might lose a game to the Lions, or we might lose a game to the Eagles, like we did last year in the regular season. Doesn't mean that when we get in the playoffs, we didn't learn from that and now we can beat them. That is another mistake that people make that they just don't understand. It's not real. The chances, you can put a percentage if you want. The reality is that is, I'm sorry, for good coaches, because there's a lot of dumb coaches out there. There's a lot of dumb coaches that don't play real smart football, don't understand the season. That's why having a first-time head coach matters, because it's not so simple as, oh, I have the best plays, just throw it out there, let's win. Nope, there's a lot of game managing, there's a lot of player protection, there's a lot of building players, making players better throughout the season. There's a lot of having players, protecting players from themselves so they could be healthy in the playoffs. There's a lot of depth chart, move makes. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Team building, figuring out who you are as a team. What do you do best as a team every year? So when you get into the playoffs, you know who you are, you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? When you make a player better. I always say it, and now I can't think of it right now. That's how long it's been since we live streamed. Developing, a lot of player development, right? Yaya was not the same Yaya from the first half of the season. Yaya was a different Yaya in the second half of the season. Kalijah Cansey. Kalijah wasn't the same Kalijah in the first half of the season than he was in the second half of the season. Then on top of that, Kalijah even was a different Kalijah in the playoffs. So there's player development that happens, that goes on. Coaches that are not good don't understand that. Some of them, they even understand it, they just don't know how to do it. It's not easy. It's not easy. But again, these are things that fans don't think about. They just think coaching is calling when to call timeout, calling the right plays, and what's it called? And changing the game plan when it's time when things aren't working, which is not true either. Sometimes things aren't working right, but that's part of the game plan because it's going to eventually break and the game plan is going to come together. So fans don't understand the reality of what it means to go through a season and why your record don't mean nothing. Now, the only thing your record really means is, do you get a chance to play in the dance? Now, that's the only reason why you want to have a good record, so you can be in the dance. But once you're in the dance, if you didn't correct the things you needed to correct, if you didn't tune up the things you needed to tune up, so when you get into the playoffs, things are better, things are working now, you've worked things out, then you waste your opportunity in the playoffs because you're just going to come into the same problems. Obviously, we didn't do that because we played a team that kicked our butt earlier in the season and we were a better team. And we beat them in the playoffs, the Eagles. So
it does. When Baker Mayfield is tasked with to get the job done, we need you, Baker. We need you to step up. He proves that he's just not good enough. He doesn't make the right decisions. He doesn't have the strong enough arm. He thinks he's stronger and faster than he actually is. That's actually how he got hurt, because he thinks he's bigger and stronger than he actually is in real life. And that's a problem. He thinks he's better than he is. And to me, that is Baker's biggest issue.
Now, here's the other thing he keeps talking about. When they ask you, Baker, we need you to win this game. We need you to win this game. That is the other thing that people keep talking about that's a little misguiding, it's not exactly true, because that's the point. That was our point last year when I said the Bucs could win the division, and I believe we will win the division, even though I don't believe in Baker. That was my point in the middle of the season, even though it started wearing a little bit in the middle of the season. But that is my whole point. My whole point is, because of this team, we don't put too much on Baker. Period. That's the whole point. We do not put too much on Baker. We don't ask Baker to do that much. Yes, we don't help Baker with a run game. Unfortunately, that just is what it is. But we help Baker with the play calling. We help Baker with the weapons that he has to throw to. I mean, it's pretty easy. People laughed at me when I said Brady lost his arm. The reason why he has those yards is because of the weapons he has. Trust me, anybody can throw to these weapons and get those yards, get those numbers. And they laughed at me. And then we got Baker and they laughed. And I said, I told you, Baker got the same numbers. In fact, he got better numbers than Brady. Y'all wasn't expecting that. I wasn't in disbelief because I knew what we had as weapons. I knew how my weapons are. I know how dangerous my weapons are. I know how easy my weapons make it for quarterbacks. I know how much better my weapons are than most of the league. People don't know that because they sleep on Mike Evans. They don't know what Mike Evans is. They understand he's a top 10 wide receiver. A lot of people won't put him in the top 5, not understanding that man is really top 3. Why? Because he's the fastest? Is he the shiftiest? Is he the most fancy? Does he get all those yaks? No. I put him as top 3 because he's top 3, the hardest wide receiver to cover, period. Top 3 hardest wide receivers to cover, period. Why? Because his route running is excellent, because he can take the top off, because he's a big body and he got great hands. All that makes him unstoppable. Nobody can stop Mike Evans, period. Nobody, unless you double or triple team him. Then you got a chance. But people sleep on Mike Evans. Then you got Chris Godwin. People sleep on him because they're sleeping on Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin's number 2. So, of course, they're going to sleep on Chris Godwin. They sleep on that man, not understanding that he can be rivaling a lot of people's number 1s. But they sleep on him because he got Mike Evans ahead of him. Nobody knows about Trey Palmer. People don't understand who Rashad White is. But it is what it is. But that's the point. Then on top of that, you have a defense. You have that Todd Bowles defense that's not going to let, I don't care who the quarterback is. I'm not saying every quarterback is going to be under 19 points or under 17 points. I'm not saying that. Of course, it don't matter if you're elite. It don't matter if you're an okay quarterback. Some games just happen the way they happen and they get more than 19 points. But for the most part, whether you're elite or whatever, we're going to hold your team to about 17, 18, 19 points. For the most part, all we're doing is asking Baker to score more than 20 points. That's it. You score more than 20 points or more, we're going to have a good record. That's not asking much for Baker. That's not asking much for any quarterback. Because we're going to get turnovers. We're going to put our offense in good position. We're going to bail our offense out. And we're going to more than likely stop the other team from scoring more than 19 points. So, yes, you're right. But you're not right, because we're not going to ask Baker to carry that much of a load. That is the whole point of why Buck fans can understand that we can have a good record or have a semi-good record, but still be a problem, because it's the team that's good. The team. And Tom Brady won a Super Bowl being that good. The team carried Brady his last year when he couldn't throw the ball anymore. The team won the division last year. People don't respect the team. That's the number 1 reason why they sleep on the Bucs and don't see the Bucs coming. They don't understand how good the team is.
Because he believes in his mind that, you know what? Under the right circumstances, I could beat Patrick Mahomes. If I was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, and you guys know this is one of my favorite thought experiments and hypotheticals. If I was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs and I had Andy Reid and I had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, I'm winning Super Bowls. I truly believe he believes that.
Now, I don't think, I have to disagree when it comes to this. He's making it seem like Baker has a big head or Baker thinks he's the ish. I disagree with that. I believe Baker was humbled by Carolina and the Rams. I believe he was humbled by being let go from Cleveland. I believe the year with Carolina and the year with the Rams, that whole year, I believe that humbled him. I believe he came in with the Bucks humbled. I truly believe that. I believe even now, even though he won the division, I believe he's humbled. I don't think Baker believes he's now. I believe he has confidence in himself. Of course, he better have confidence in himself. But does he believe that if he was with Andy Reid, he'd win Super Bowls? I mean, I kind of believe that. I think Andy Reid is that good. Like, I would, and I'm not big on Baker. Would Andy Reid be on this run that he is with Patrick Mahomes? No, I don't think that. But if Andy Reid had Baker, do I think that Andy Reid could make it easy for Baker and get him to play at a very high level? Yeah, I have no doubt that Andy Reid could get Baker to play at a high level. So why wouldn't Baker believe that? But the way you're trying to make it seem is like he has this high, oh, I'm high and mighty. I'm one of the better quarterbacks out here. Again, confident in himself? Yes, I do think he's humbled, though. I do think he knows he needs weapons. He doesn't think he can do this on his own. He don't think he made Mike Evans. He don't think he makes Chris Godwin or anybody on the team. I don't think he believes he won the division. He knows. That's why he wanted to come here. He knows he needs weapons. And he knows from last year that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin is the reason why we won the division. He knows who he is. He knows his part in this team. He knows what he is capable. I think he was humbled, and I think he knows. I think he's in the right space.
Truly believe that. And that is just wrong. Not accurate. There's a lot of virtually every single quarterback, not virtually every single quarterback would be better with the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all that fun stuff. But not all of them would be automatic Super Bowl winners. Joe Burrow, Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, Super Bowl. Josh Allen, Super Bowl. Jordan Love, Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, Super Bowl. I know I'm going to forget some people because I don't remember every single name off the top of my head. Justin Herbert, Super Bowl. All of those guys would be winning Super Bowls if they were drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs and had Andy Reid, had everything all the same. Not Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield would be, can we cut this guy loose? Can we move on from him? We got to do something.
I'm not saying he's wrong or right because we would never know. But to act like you know that he wouldn't be able to win a Super Bowl with them, I think that's a little...
It'd be similar to a Dak Prescott
a little much.
And Dak Prescott and the Cowboys.
To just know, no, there's no way he would ever... Even if he was with that, there's no way...
Feasting on some of these bad teams. But when you need to make the right play, when you need to truly do what needs to be done, you look like Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. That's what would happen. So, no.
And again, I'm not a big Baker guy, but I have to disagree with this as well. Because, again, he's making it seem like that is his thing. That when we need him to do something, he's not available to do it. He's not capable of doing it. That's not true. We needed him to make a game-winning drive in the Falcons game. Even though it should have never been a close game. It was only a close game because of him. But when it came down to the final minutes, he was able to score a touchdown. There has been plenty of times. The Texans is another game where drove down the field and gave us the lead at the end. We didn't win because of the defense, but Baker rose to the occasion, and I'm pretty sure there's probably like 2 more games that he's done that. Right? Shoot, the Green Bay game is just a different game. I always say that. Green Bay game he was like the best quarterback that week. Like, for sure. Green Bay game, that was an out-of-body experience for Baker. So I don't even count that game. But I have a lot of question marks when it comes to Baker. I have a lot of things that I don't like when it comes to Baker. But the one thing that I do give Baker credit for is he does have ice in his veins. I will always give him that credit. And what I mean by that, I don't mean he's the clutchest quarterback or anything like that. What I mean is he is not scared of the moment. He is not scared of the moment. The moment doesn't get big and then, he just can't play. Baker is the same. If he's playing good and the moment arrives that he just needs to be good one more time, like in the Saints game, he can make it happen. We've seen it happen, right? Texans game, needed to just continue to be good. Made it happen. Even in the Falcons game, he wasn't having a good game. We had a chance at the end. We just need you to have that moment. The moment is here. Rose to the occasion, even though he wasn't playing good all game. Rose to the occasion, and he delivered. Now there's been moments like the playoff game, right? He was doing decent, not great. He was doing decent. Oh, we got one more drive in the playoffs. He threw an interception. I'm pretty sure there's another game where he did the same thing at the very end. We had a chance to win it with the drive. He threw an interception. So I'm not saying he's clutch or anything like that. What I'm saying is the moment it never happens where it's like, oh man, he was playing good, but then the moment came and he crumbled. No, he either makes a good decision or he makes a bad decision, but it never has to do with the moment. It's just every big moment is just a regular snap to him. And you can tell. And that I appreciate. That's what I mean by he has ice in his veins, where the moment is big, you can't see it by him playing. Whether he makes a good play or makes a bad play, you don't see he doesn't look shook. He doesn't look like, oh man, he was nervous because it was do or die right there. He's playing the same. And for the most part, we've seen him rise to the occasion. It's a little bit more than 50-50 that he's rose to the occasion. So again, I'm not saying he's that guy. I'm not saying that, we got 100% belief in him when it's time. Like, okay, we down by one possession. Here it is. Is this drive or nothing? No, we're still sweating and like, oh my God, can we do this? Can we do this? But we believe it's possible. We don't sit in there like, Tua, like, it's a good he's not going to. Come on. It's a big game. He's going to choke. We know it. Dak Prescott, it's a big game. He's going to choke. We know it. Tony Romo, it's a big game. He's going to choke. No, that's not Baker. It's not Baker. It's not Baker. He might do bad, but it's not because he choked or because the moment was too big. That's not the reason. It's just because he just did a bad play. So that's one thing I do give Baker. He doesn't get scared of the moment. So I have to disagree with that.
I do not believe that if he can't even do it with Andy Reid and the prime offensive roster of the Kansas City Chiefs, that they're not good enough to win, why would I think that he's going to be good enough with the Buccaneers? And again, to be very clear, I am not saying that Baker Mayfield is just trash, that he's just garbage, that he's the worst quarterback ever. He is a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not a backup. He's not a scrub. He's not a bum. He's a baller. He wants to play. He does everything he can. He tries to play injured. He does it. And I respect the whole thinking you're better than you are, right? Like I do. I honestly, genuinely do respect that. But that's also been his Achilles heel. There's that whole idea of what gets you there is what will keep you there. Or, sometimes you have to let go what no longer serves you. Okay? Sometimes what got you to a place you need to let go of because it's the very thing that could keep you from succeeding.
Now, I agree with that. Unfortunately, or I shouldn't say unfortunately, I should say fortunately, right? He has let that go. He hasn't stood, and he's not that same Cleveland Browns Baker. Now, you might see him raw every once in a while and pump his chest and talk his trash after a big play that he made. But what's wrong with that? He's getting himself involved. He's getting himself psyched up. That's after the fact, not before the fact, but after the fact. There's nothing wrong with that. So where I do agree with what he is saying, right? I do agree with what he's saying. I disagree that he's saying that that's still him, and it's not. He has stopped a lot of nonsense that he used to do and a lot of things where it's like, bro, that's not going to work anymore. So I disagree with him on that
And
part.
so, no, I've had a conversation with some people in the comments recently, and I don't think Baker Mayfield is very humble personally. He does always have that chip on his shoulder. And again, that gets glorified a lot, right? He's a fighter, he's a warrior, he's a this, he's a that. Well, a lot of players win without this whole idea of having a chip on their shoulder.
Right.
It's the understanding that they are great and that they know how to do great things. And to me, Baker Mayfield, he's very much reminds me of like a small dog, honestly, right? Like a Chihuahua, one of those dogs that is always just like fear barking and skittish. To me, that is who Baker is. He still feels insecure. Maybe it's because of his college career. I don't really know, but he has this Napoleon complex to a degree where he always feels like he needs to prove to everyone that he belongs, that he's there, that he's the guy. And listen, I think he was humbled bouncing around the league. And
Okay.
I think having success, and I'm happy for him. I don't want to see him fail. I'm not, again, I'm not, and a lot of you guys are going to take this as like me just hating Baker and all of this, but that's not the case. I'm happy he's in the league. I'm happy that he's found success in Tampa Bay. I am in no way rooting for someone to just fail. I love him in his commercials. His commercials were frustratingly funny, right? It was like, oh, that's not fair. You can't be in the NFL and make funny commercials. Come on now. So kudos to him in that regard. But again, I can have opinions that aren't just 100% universally positive about a player,
Of course.
and not automatically be pegged as a hater or an idiot and I don't know football, because I know a lot of you Baker Mayfield fans are going to come at me and say that. But the truth is that I just don't think that he's good enough. And if Dak Prescott's not good enough to win with the Dallas Cowboys, why do you guys think that Baker Mayfield is going to be good enough to win with the Buccaneers?
Because we're a better team than the Cowboys. Plain and simple. We're a better team than the Cowboys. Cowboys lost to the Green Bay Packers. We whooped on the Green Bay Packers. If Dak Prescott came to the Bucs and Baker went to the Cowboys, we would easily have a better record than the Cowboys. It's a better team. We're a better team than the Cowboys. So when you're talking about that Baker Mayfield is humble, but he still has this chip on the shoulder and all this other crap, good. I want more players like that. I love that Napoleon complex. Good. You know why? Because that means if we was ever to give him a real contract, which I hope we don't, not gonna lie, but if we was to ever give him a real contract, or anybody else for that matter who has that Napoleon complex, that means he's never going to stop. That means he's never going to be satisfied. If he always has a chip on his shoulder, if he always feels like he has to prove somebody wrong, or he has to bark at somebody, he will never stop trying. And I want that, because I know once I pay somebody, I don't have to worry about him stop trying, because he still feels like he has a chip on his shoulder. He still feels like he has things to prove. He still feels like he has to bark at people. So I like that part. The part that he had to get rid of, the cockiness and all that stuff, it's gone. The cockiness is the part that he doesn't have no more, that why he's humble, because he doesn't have that cockiness part no more. That's the part that you got to say, yeah, the cockiness got you this far, but you have to let that go now that you're in the NFL. And he's done that. When he got humbled, he let that part go because he got humbled. Everything else, keep it. Let's run with it.
It's just Dak Prescott is a superior quarterback to Baker Mayfield, and it's not even particularly close. It's really not.
I agree with that.
He's a whole level below Dak Prescott, and I think that Dak Prescott is not this elite quarterback either.
I agree with that.
But I think Dak Prescott's a really, really good quarterback, and in the right circumstance with the right team and the right coach can win a Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to be able to do that with Dallas Cowboys, especially getting paid $60 million a year.
I agree with that.
I think if you pay Dak Prescott what you paid Baker Mayfield, that's a home run. Then you absolutely can win a Super Bowl, because then you can get the Christian McCaffreys, the Diggs, the Jeffersons, right? You can get all the big guys there. Then you can absolutely win. And that's the benefit that the Buccaneers do have. They're not paying, what was it? It was like 3 years, $100 million, whatever the contract ends up being. So that is a good contract for the Bucs.
Don't worry, guys.
But I just see a lot of losses. And again, even if they win some of these 50-50 games that I pointed out, and again, it's not so much that it's 50-50, it's just that it's a little bit harder to really know, just because we just don't know what these teams look like right now, right? Who's injured, who's healthy? Are these teams actually flowing yet? Have they worked out? Have they found their identity? You have no idea this far in advance. But they can't compete with the Chiefs. They can't compete with the Ravens.
Wrong.
They can't compete with the 49ers. Like, they can't compete with these teams. So, again,
Chiefs, 49ers, both were in the Super Bowl. What point are you making? You can say that about a lot of teams. So what does that mean?
what are you going to be happy with then as a Buccaneers fan? Are you going to be happy just getting to the playoffs again, winning a?
So again, you can make this video to 30 other teams, or I should say 29 other teams, because you already did it to the Bucs. Two of the teams that you can't do that to is Mahomes and the Chiefs and the 49ers. Everybody else in the division in the NFL, you can literally make this video and say you can't beat the 49ers, you can't beat the Chiefs. So are you just going to be happy being in the playoffs and getting kicked out? It's not realistic. Just like, why play the games? Now you're probably saying, of course you got to play the games. Anything could happen to the San Francisco 49ers. Let's just say this. What happens if the Buccaneers get a really good run game? And now Baker Mayfield has the weapons he has with Mike Evans and all the passing weapons, and he has let's just say a top 5 run game, top 7 run game, and he has that defense. Now who's going to stop the Bucs? Who's stopping the Bucs? I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but I'm just saying, is that crazy to believe that one year the Buccaneers have a really good run game? It's not impossible. It can definitely happen. A year that we just, I don't know, it just clicked. The OC, Liam, I don't know, we just ran real good. Or maybe our O-line is just better than we thought it was going to be, and we just able to run the ball this year. You know how deadly the Buccaneers would be if we can actually run the ball? So you mean to tell me that we are now forcing teams to try to stop the run? Letting Mike Evans, Trey Palmer free? Are you crazy? They already can't stop Trey Palmer from taking the top off with 2 people on him and safety over the top. They can't stop Trey Palmer from taking the top off. They can't stop Mike Evans from taking the top off. And now they have to give that up because the Buccaneers is killing them on the ground, because you have to put more man in the box to actually slow down the Buccaneers running game. Do you know how crazy we would be? But these are things that people don't, at least with we'll see. People act like they know what the Bucs are already. They act like the Bucs, they know what the Bucs are. They have no idea what the Bucs are. We don't know what the Bucs are. So I guess I'm making this video because, let's get real. We're content creators. He is a content creator, at least. He has to make a video about something, I guess. But this is the problem with making videos like this. This is how you look foolish. Happened to me all the time. Used to happen to me all the time. I used to look foolish all the time. But this is what happens when you don't see the different possibilities, you come out with strong statements and then you look foolish. Now, if you was to come out here and say, it's possible, but this is what's probably going to happen because I think this is what Baker's going to probably look like, then you look like, okay, you might know what you're talking about. I can still disagree with you, but at least you're not out here saying, I know Baker's like this. That's like saying, I know Baker don't got a chance of winning a Super Bowl with Andy Reid. You look crazy saying that. You're not being realistic. It's just as hot as a hot take because you really don't know. You don't know. Baker was one game away from the NFC Championship. Matter of fact, let's be more specific. Baker was one drive away from the NFC Championship. And that was with a first-time OC. Never been an OC before. Literally didn't know what he was doing. Figuring it out as the season was going. And you're telling me that Andy Reid wouldn't be able to, maybe in all the different years with all the weapons, wouldn't be able to figure something out to maybe get to the Super Bowl? Come on, you're sounding crazy when you say stuff like that. You're being very, oh, I know. And the truth is you don't know. And the truth is, if you knew more about this team, you would realize just how foolish. I'm not saying the take is crazy. Again, a lot of things you're saying about Baker, I'm not necessarily disagreeing. It's the fact that you can't see no other thing happening besides what you're saying right now, which is if you knew the truth about the Bucs, you would then understand how foolish your take might look. The year might play out, you might look right. I'm saying there's a chance you could look right. He could look terrible this year. I've said it. But if you knew the team, you would understand how much of a risk you look of looking foolish by saying this like you know for sure he's going to not be one of the better quarterbacks. I know what he can possibly look like because of this team, because of what we got, because of what we've done before and what we could potentially do now this year. That's the difference.
A game, like, do you want to get a Super Bowl? Do you want to win a Super Bowl? Like, what are the actual expectations for a Tampa Bay fan? Because the truth is, and no disrespect to the Tampa Bay fans is that this isn't this prestigious, blue-blooded franchise. This isn't the Ravens, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Like, this isn't one of those teams where the expectations are win playoff games, get to NFC, AFC championship games, win Super Bowls, get to Super Bowls. Like, those are what the expectations are. Tampa Bay doesn't necessarily have those level of consistent expectations. So I'm just curious. It's like, what, as the Tampa Bay fan, what are you expecting? Like, what are you hoping? What will make you happy?
Now, neither were the Chiefs until it started happening. Neither were the Eagles until it started happening. It's a lot of teams that they're not this prestige franchise until they are. That's one. Number two, I will tell you as a Bucs fan what I am looking for this season. That is, I am hoping, I will be happy if my team took the next step. Not Baker. If he took the next step, I would love it. But I am looking for my team to take the next step. If Baker took the next step and my team didn't, I wouldn't be happy with the season, but I'd be really optimistic about the next year. If my team took the next step and Baker didn't, I'd be happy and I'd be very excited about the next year because that's what I'm expecting. Now, what do I mean by if the team took the next step? Well, we got questions with the O-line. We don't know what the O-line is going to be. We have expectations. So if they took that next step to our expectations, that would be great. We don't know what McCollum is in the secondary. But if they took the step we're expecting them to take, we're going to be a problem. The D-line, one of the biggest question marks. We don't know exactly what our D-line is going to look like this year. We got people that we are expecting to take that next step and be the starter. And if they do, the certain defensive linemen that we have in our minds to take the next step, scary. And we don't know who's going to replace Levante. We don't know who our linebackers are, but we're probably going to get a glimpse of that because there's no more Devin White. So we're probably going to get a glimpse of the future of our linebackers. And if they take a next step, I'll feel better about that. And if all of these players and this team takes the next step, then we should win the division again. And if we win the division again, we have a really good chance of winning another playoff game. And I'll be happy. But either way, I want to see our team take the next step. And if Baker wants to take the next step while our team takes the next step, then I guarantee you we'll win a playoff game and we'll be going for that NFC championship again. And we'll be a whole lot better than last year. And then we can be happy and be really happy about the next year after that. So that's what I'm looking for as a Buccaneers fan.
Would you be satisfied if they get and win another playoff game, but then lose the next round again? Or if they make it to the NFC Championship game, but lose?
And yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Now, why? I'll tell you why. I don't believe that Baker is the future of this franchise. I don't believe that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. How many times is RTP wrong about the Buccaneers? Not much. But I don't believe he is the franchise of this, the franchise quarterback of this team. So if my team takes the next step and that allows us to win even if we lose in the first playoff game, if my team takes the next step, which allows us to win the division and all that stuff, I am excited because I know then, no matter what we do the following year, because Baker probably will be our quarterback the following year after that, but that doesn't matter. I am excited because I got questions about Levante David. I got questions. I got answers with whoever is going to replace Levante, and I got answers about all my team now. And I know whoever's coming up next as a quarterback, all we have to do is hit on that quarterback. And if we hit on that quarterback, contender time again. Contender time again. So that's why even if we barely win the division and we get booted out the first playoff game, but I know that my team took that next step and answered questions that we had in a good way, I'm excited because I know the route that we are going when we talk about building the team is the right route. And the quarterback is the last piece that we have to get right. Because what you want to do is get a quarterback for cheap. So if we got to get a rookie quarterback like a Russell Wilson or something, get a rookie quarterback or something cheap, right? A rookie quarterback, Russell Wilson came as a rookie. Right away, they won a championship that was already elite, had players ready to go. So if we are on the right track and building this team right, the last thing we got to worry about is our quarterback. So if Baker Mayfield takes this year and the next year, that's fine. But when Baker is done, those 2 years have passed, and we move on, if that team is ready to contend, all we got to do is find that quarterback. And whether it's drafting or a quarterback that's hitting the free agency that we can say, I know he can do the jobs we need him to do, and we'll be contending again for a championship. So that's where I'm at. That's where my mind is at as a Bucs fan. That's where my mind is at right now. That's why I've been talking about Baker. I'm like, whatever, let's talk about the team. Because I already know as of right now, my team's not ready. This year is supposed to be one step forward. And if we take one step forward this year, then we could take another big step next year. And if that happens, we are contenders. We are ready to contend for another Super Bowl. All we have to do is get the quarterback right. And we'll already have everyone we need on the team. We'll have already depth. We'll have everything. If we continue to build and we show that we're on the right path, our team will be ready to contend for a Super Bowl again. All we need to do is pluck the right quarterback. So that's what I'm hoping that we do. because I believe we have a good coaching staff. I believe we have really good players on this team. So I am hoping that we're taking the right steps forward and still winning so we can keep it together long enough for Jason to be in the same situation that we were a couple of years ago, which was Jason like looking around and saying, we got a team. This team is some of the best in the league, which, again, I believe we're en route for that. Kalijah Kancey, Yaya, Vita Vea, Servassier, I'm hoping that I can say that. We already know Antoine and Jordan or whoever's next. Tyreek, I hope that's one. Tyreek Smith, right? McCollum and Dean. That's some crazy work. Tristan, Luke Gedeke, now Barton, Mayock. Okay. Rashad and Bucky. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm gonna be real. I don't know how long we're gonna have Mike Evans. I don't know if he'll make it to that next era. Hopefully, Chris Godwin makes it to that next era. I don't know, but wide receiver is one of the least problems. I mean, McMillan, we don't know what McMillan is, but we got a good feeling about him. He's going to replace somebody. So we would probably have to, on that second step, probably have to replenish those wide receivers. But the rest of the team look like we're already on track to be on the go. So that's what I'm looking for.
What will make you happy? That I'm genuinely curious about. So let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think about Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers? Do you think that they'll actually surprise people? Do you think they'll be good this season? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree.
All right, so that's pretty much it right there. What's good, everybody? So let's I'm gonna read some of these comments once again, man. We're reacting to this video that he made about, it's called ESPN NFL. No, that's not what the video's called. Forgot what the video's called. Let me see. Video's called, I guess it is called that. ESPN NFL Live. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have huge expectations. Can Baker lead? He's basically giving his rundown what he thinks about Baker and what this team is going to look like. And we reacted to it. Once again, anybody in the live chat or watching this later that's not live, put in the comment section if you ever find a video that you would like me to react to, whether it's someone talking trash about the Bucs, or maybe somebody praising the Bucs, or praising or talking trash about a certain player on the Bucs. If you want to get my reaction, let me know. You can put it in the comment section here, or you can DM me on Twitter, Pewter and Red Podcast. Just DM me, send me the link, and I'll react to it. I'm gonna try to do some more reactions when I ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm gonna try to find a video to react to, give my reaction, and then come on here. Now, training camp is coming up, so content is gonna start flowing again. So shout out to that. Let's get to some of these comments in the comment sections that I've missed. We watched yesterday, different team, but we just showed we can outduel the Packers. Yep. Now, no, we talked about this. I just want to see what our OC looks like in the game action. That's my biggest question mark right now. Exactly. And we will break that down as the training camp goes and as preseason and all that. We're going to get more and more answers. Atlas says, fair enough. It's all possible. I'm just more pessimistic on our short-term future. As long as this guy doesn't have the Falcon jumping to first in the division, we're cool. I hear you. You have every right to be nervous and not like, I'm a Bowles guy. I'm not a Baker guy, but I am a Bowles guy. But I get it. I get it if you don't like Baker. I get it if you don't like Bowles. I'm not hating on nobody's opinion. Tampa Bay Rays fan says, what up, RTP? What it do? I wish I need to drop my bombs when I call your guys' names, but my stupid soundboard, I don't know, it's not working. I deleted it and had to download it again, and it still wasn't working. So something's wrong. I got to find me a new soundboard, but hopefully I will get better. Gaming Reaper says, what's good, baby? Live show. Let's go. You already know what time it is. Gaming Reaper says, smash that like. Yes, sir. Rashad West, I'll be at the Raiders game. Shout out, man. I thought I was going to say, well, hit me up, but the Raiders game, because, the Raiders play here, but the Raiders game is in Tampa, right? It's not in Vegas, I don't believe. Rashad West says, Cousins going to be a statue out there. Our pass rush going to feast. Falcons played us tough because Ritter could move a bit. Yeah, I mean, people get mad when I say Ritter outperformed Baker. They get mad when I say Ritter outperformed Baker, out quarterbacked Baker, made harder throws than Baker, but they don't get mad when I say Baker outperformed Derek Carr. So it's like I tell the truth, bro. Like I tell the truth. If your quarterback played better than my quarterback, I'm going to say it. If my quarterback played better than your quarterback, I'm going to say it. I don't care how crazy it looks either way. I'm going to tell the truth. So, yeah. Yeah. The Baker's Man card gallery says you guys are tripping about Baker. The whole offense ran through Baker last year. Baker wasn't good. You question everything about Baker last year. You're a perp. I didn't question. I answered questions about Baker. I didn't question anything about Baker. Baker is exactly what I said. So, Tampa Bay Rays fan says, don't forget wide receiver McMillan. Yes, while I was talking about all those wide receivers and the weapons that Baker has, I truly agree. I do believe. Now, again, I'm not going to say that we know because we're not going to say that we know because we still got to go through training camp. We still got to go with pads and preseason. But I do got a really good. I really do got it. I got a good feeling about this team. I'm not going to hold you guys. The more and more I watch, the more and more I think about things, I got a really good feeling about McMillan, and I got a really good feeling about this team. Now, once training camp starts, once preseason starts, a lot of those good feelings can go away real quick. Because I do got some, even though I got a lot of good feelings about this team, I do definitely got some question marks and some um I do have a doubt. I do have a doubt, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But I do have question marks, and we have a lot of questions. We all know this. We have a lot of questions on this team, but they'll get answered soon enough. So we don't have to really get into that right now. But Crazy is in the building. He says Skull Gang in the building. What up, RTP? What it do? But Crazy. Big Al is in the building. Says two different teams, my man. We are not the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are not the Bucks. No comparing. That's a fact. The Cowboys is Madden good. The Cowboys is Madden good. What I mean by that, when you play Madden and you have that one guy that's just unblockable, Micah Parson, right? That guy that gets all the interceptions. I don't even remember what his name is. It's a Diggs, right? That's it. They're not trash, but they're not like that. They're really not. They're very top heavy, and the top is not really that heavy. So I want to say they're a one trick pony, but I don't really know how to explain that. I don't really know how to explain that when it comes to the Cowboys. Is they're just not from the outside it looks like they're built like that. They're not built like that. They're not built like that at all. They're not. If they're very hollow. Big Al says, what we are is that team nobody likes or believes in. We are the real villains, the real bad guys. We're the team that love to prove everybody wrong when we win games and Super Bowls. So let's own it. That's a fact. That is a fact. It's because of our franchise, right? It's because of our franchise. And not only that, but because we won the Super Bowl with Brady, people that has blinded so many people, and it continues to blind people. We went from being the bottom of our division for years and years and years to in 1 year winning the Super Bowl. And because it was Brady that did it, people skipped over the base of our team. They skipped over and ignored what was done by Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles. The foundation that they built, that was overlooked. They didn't even think about it. They never acknowledged it because it didn't matter because Tom Brady overshadowed all of it. So from that point on, they never saw that the coaching staff built, as well as our GM, built a great foundation for this team. And then Tom Brady joined it and we won a Super Bowl. So they thought it was Tom Brady. So even when Tom Brady at the end was terrible, no one could understand that Tom Brady was bad because we were still winning some games and we still had a winning record and we still won the division. So they gave it to Tom Brady because they figured that was the explanation of why we were still able to pull it off, even though their eyes and heart was telling them Brady's not playing good, or I should say their eyes and their brain. No, yeah, their eyes and their heart was telling them that Brady is not playing good, but their brain couldn't comprehend why are they still winning? Why are they still getting yards as an offense? They couldn't comprehend it. The only thing that made sense that let it all make sense, because Brady's great. Brady's the GOAT. Brady's great. That's how it's still happening. That's how they're still able to win games. That's how they're still able to have a high-powered offense in yards. It really wasn't high-powered at all. It just was a lot of yards. How is that possible if Brady's arm is bad and how he's not looking good? Because Brady's the GOAT. No. It has nothing to do with the team. And then Brady leaves and okay, Brady's gone, so now they're going to be trash because now Brady's not there to save them. But wait a minute, we looked the same without Brady and a Baker Mayfield. Not only did we look the same, we looked a little better. How is that possible? And they won the division again. How is that possible? And this time, we didn't lose in the first round like we did with Tom Brady's last year. We won the first round in the playoffs. Now you got people thinking, oh, it's because of Baker. Really? Make this all make sense, guys. It's easy. We have a good coaching staff. We have a good team and foundation. That is how we are staying afloat. That is how we're still competing. That is how we're still winning the division. That is how we're still winning playoff games. We built a great foundation and we're off of that. Now, are we going to continue or is the team going to start dwindling down and unraveling because we got Levante leaving, Mike Evans in a couple years might leave. So is the team going to start unraveling? We don't know, but that's why we're hoping that this year we see our team take a step forward so we can understand like, okay, Levante don't have to play next year, but we'll be okay because we saw that Servassier can handle it. Mike Evans, we might not have Mike Evans in a couple of years, but we'll be okay because we saw that McMillan, it looks like he might be ready for a starting role. You know, stuff like that will allow us to say, okay, we're going to stay competitive. But those are answers that'll be answered this year. Giuseppe. What up, RTP? What it do, Giuseppe? I would drop a bomb and say welcome to the channel and all that. But again, my soundboard is done. I got to find me a new soundboard to download and we'll get that going. But shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to you, Giuseppe. Welcome to the channel. What's good? Oh, you might be actually, yeah, you look familiar. Tampa Bay Rays fan says, don't forget the Bucks are in a winnable Division 2. That helps. Tampa Bay Rays fan says, Raiders will play at Tampa Bay. Yeah, that's what I figured. I was going to tell Rashad, man, hit me up. Let's go get some drinks and chill. What is your take on Cohen utilizing Godwin like he did with Kupp in LA? I think it'll be huge. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to look like offensively. Those questions are going to be answered. I do think I pretty much believe that he's going to be a better offensive coordinator because he's been an offensive coordinator before. So I definitely, you know how I did the 5 things that can go wrong last year? And pretty much they all happened. A lot of those things won't go wrong with Cohen. Now, there are still things that can go wrong, but I don't think Cohen is the problem. I don't think Cohen will be a problem. Could he be a problem? There's still a chance that, he could be a problem some way. But I have a good feeling about Cohen. I have a good feeling about Liam. I have a good feeling about um, his play calling. I have a good feeling about his play designs. I have a good feeling about how he's going to use the players. I have a good feeling about him. I have a good feeling about him. Um, but again, I could be wrong. I do have questions about our offense. Completely different situation of why I have questions. But again, we could get into that at another time. Um, answers will start. We will start getting answers. I'll start getting confirmations, whether it's negative or positive. We're real close to training camp starting. Tubba Bay says Cowboys are stat patterns. It looks good on paper, but they are beatable. They're one of those teams. Cowboys and Dolphins are the same in some ways as far as when things go good, things are good. You can pat the stats when things go good. But when you punch them in the mouth and don't let things start off good, they're gonna crumble. They're gonna fold. What is more laughable? I see that coaches are on the hot seat for 2024 and Bowles is listed on there according to the experts. Who are these experts? If you have a video of these so-called experts, send the video link, put it in the comment section, or just DM it to me on Pewter and Red. Real OG. Oh, what up, Real OG? Okay. I thought your picture looked familiar. And actually, Giuseppe looked familiar too. All right, Real OG. I got you, Real OG. You gotta let me know, man. I want to say Real OG. I can't lose Real OG. But yeah, so that's what we've been on for an hour and a half already. So shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. Again, hopefully tomorrow I can find me some a soundboard or something to do because I feel so naked without my soundboard. But yeah, we're gonna try to get things going again. We're gonna try to get some things going again. Like I said, training camp is coming up, so you know what that means. We got to get some good coverage. Start watching videos of press conferences and breaking down film and all. We gotta when training camp starts, man, this is a big year. This is a big year for us. So we'll see how that goes. Shaman RTP, the host of the Pewter and Red podcast channel. I hope you guys have a good day today, man. And again, before you guys leave, man, do me a favor, hit the like button. Share to your family and friends so we can try to grow this channel some more so we can get it popping by the time the season starts again. And we need to get this in rotation, man. We had like 6-7 people watching. We could do better than that. We usually have about we have more than that usually. So let's hit the like button, get the algorithm, comment in the comment section, even if it's just to say hi. That helps the algorithm as well. So do your guys' part, man. Hit the like button, comment in the comment section, share the video. Let's get the algorithm going again so we can start getting this chat room popping again like it was last year. Shaman RTP here with the Pewter and Red podcast. I'll see you guys later. Deuce, we out.